Oh, I did. Okay, cool. Oh, I need my charger, dog. Okay, chat, 1 second. Woo! Oh, snap. Okay, here we go. I gotta catch my breath. I was zooming, chat. Anticipation's got me. Breathing heavy. Man. And that's the thing, too. I always forget the dang charging cord. Alright, chat, can we get... Sorry, I gotta calm down. We got a fire stream today. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get all of the... Let me... Like this. No, this one. Nice. Okay, now we didn't get all of the exactly what we wanted for this week, but we'll definitely have it going forward. But chat, we're here, pregame show. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. Hey, placed a bunch of money tonight, so let's go. Chat, I just updated my fantasy football lineup. You know, we did the draft. I started Sam Laporta and Riley Patterson because I didn't have a kicker. So I was like, all right, we'll go Riley Patterson just to make it fun. But I did start Sam Laporta, so you know, I was like, look, I think he's got a chance. Maybe he's not that dude. I don't have Jahmyr Gibbs. If I had Gibbs, I would have started Gibbs. But I like the potential for a couple guys offensively to go crazy. And there's just like a real part of me that's just, I really want to bet on Sam Laporta being a dog this year, so I'm doing it. All right, let me turn this beat down. Chat, can we get a 1 if we sound good? If the audio sounds good with the beat, me talking, is it overwhelming? Is something too loud? And then we'll get right into this thing. We may have a couple guests on, we may not. I'm kind of just wait and see on that. We'll see. But I do have it open to invite. So it's possible. It is possible. I started Montgomery. Let's go. I love that too. I absolutely love that too. Check down gang all night. Hey, I'm on board, baby. I'm on board, Michael. Come on now. You know what I mean? Cool. All right, we got a 1. All right, we sound good. All right, cool. Let's jump right into this. I want to throw this up first. Man, this is sweet. They're showing like, oh, that's so fire, dog. Okay, calm down. I'm going to throw up the inactives. I'm going to turn this down a little bit in my headset too because this is like super loud. You guys don't hear it. It's going crazy over here. I'm going to throw up the inactives on the stream if you haven't seen them yet. Each team posted their inactives. And really, we're all here for one thing. I mean, we're here for one thing and one thing only, right? I mean, that's what we're all here for. So, I'm going to show it off. Sort of. Okay, this looks kind of weird. All right, hold up. Let me keep this big and make me small. Okay, now we're good. Chat, look, we're figuring out this kind of new, new streaming software. But we're good. We'll get it figured out here. I'm actually going to make it way bigger because you guys cannot see what's happening. Are you going to let me make it bigger? There, sort of, we go. All right, cool. Here we go. So here's the inactives. This is for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we will then go to the Lions side. The Chiefs, there's really not a lot to look at here, except for the top one. Well, actually the bottom one, Travis Kelce. Look, this is what we're here for. We're all here to find out, was Travis Kelce going to play? Travis Kelce's not playing. And I don't, okay, obviously, as a Lions fan, right, you don't hope for anybody to have injuries. Yes, I do like, I think this gives us a better chance to win. It takes away one of the biggest weapons in the game. And we're going to talk some numbers even more to that in a second. But I will say I'm a little bit just not sure what we're going to get because he's out. There's so much that we haven't seen. We have not seen him not there. There's been so much we haven't seen when he's been not there because he hasn't missed much time at all. So it's And look, they have like new receivers, so they added Kadarius Toney last year. He had some solid production. We're going to get into the players to watch here in a second. But I feel like when I'm looking at the edge rusher position, I keep telling myself, oh man, it's all about kind of potential there. A lot of young guys. It's what's it going to turn into? What are these first-round picks going to become? But then when you look at the receiving core, it's kind of the same thing. I feel like there's a lot of like, okay, what is it really going to be? And it feels like kind of like us in the sense of they have their, they have their Watsons, they have their big outside receivers that have a certain role, a certain purpose on this team. They have their, I don't want to say gadget players because it makes it sound like they're not a receiver, but the players that make things happen with the ball in their hands, the Sky Moores, the Kadarius Toneys, they have their specific weapons, but it feels like it's a little bit more potential than proven yet. So I'm I just want to see what this offense is going to look like. Do they really go more run heavy? Because if that is the case, let's take a look at the Lions side right now. Here we go. This one should look a little bit better. I'm not going to actually full screen that, but this should look better. Yeah. All right. Here's the Lions inactives. Hopefully you guys can see these here. Isaiah Buggs, Stephen Gilmore, Broderick Martin, Emmanuel Mosley, and Romeo Okwara. A couple things we'll point out here. First off, of course, Romeo Okwara being inactive. That's a healthy scratch. I mean, all of these are healthy scratches aside of Emmanuel Mosley. I think that makes sense with Romeo. Like, I can't say I'm super surprised by that. I don't think he did extremely well at the end of the preseason. And I think, you're giving a nod to the James Houstons. So I can understand this. Also, I think we're going to see a lot of John Kaminsky and Josh Pascal today. I think we're going to see a lot of those guys, whether that's on the interior or on the edge. So, I mean, I get that. I get where they're coming from with that. And we're going to see James Houston, I assume, as well today, especially on all the RPO looks they're going to give us. Stephen Gilmore, healthy scratch. They're going with, instead, for depth, Khalil Dorsey. One, he can play inside and outside. But I think the biggest thing is if you put him right now up against somebody, you could really make the case that Khalil Dorsey is more polished and Stephen Gilmore is a little more of an upside piece. And then on the defensive line, Isaiah Buggs, we had heard about that one. We had heard they were making that decision. But also Broderick Martin. Now, I'll tell you this, chat. Here's my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts in the chat, in the comments right now. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I think the biggest thing for this is if you ask me, and you're just talking about the players, all right? If you just said, okay, Broderick Martin or Isaiah Buggs, based on how they played in the preseason, who should actually get the nod? Of course, I would go Isaiah Buggs. Broderick Martin was very inconsistent in the preseason. So there's that side of it. But it also, I think, kind of gives you a sense of where they may be leaning a little bit. Look, this is a team that, again, they like to really stretch. They like to get outside with their offensive linemen. They're really good in the interior, so the challenge is going to be real for a guy like Benito Jones, assuming he gets some snaps in there. But I think we're also going to see a good amount of Levi and Aleem. You're going to want those guys that can really move. I think seemingly the Lions are leaning into that. They want their explosive weapons that can match laterally, so they're leaning into that. Pascal, Kaminsky are going to get, I think, some reps inside. That's kind of my assumption here. And then I think we'll play some wider edge alignments with Aiden Hutchinson and the James Houstons. And we know Romeo isn't maybe the most natural in that role. So that's kind of what I'm assuming based on what we're seeing here. Definitely leaves them light at nose tackle, but I think when you're talking about the team that they're playing, it's understandable what happened to Gilmore and Romeo. So I don't think anything happened to him. I think some of this is, okay, first with the Stephen Gilmore one. Stephen Gilmore, I think, is a little bit more of a potential type of deal rather than necessarily a game plan type of thing. Like, again, I would say right now, based on what we saw from Khalil Dorsey, now the difference is you could argue where they were getting reps, but Dorsey did start the final preseason game. We did a video on that, so definitely go check it out, the all 22 look. Yeah, I think it was just pretty clear Khalil Dorsey played better, but at the same time, Gilmore played really well, and you kind of lean into the upside there because it wasn't all perfect, but you really like what he can become. So I think that is the thing. Maybe it's a little bit more of a trust, like, hey, kind of with the Starling Thomas, we're leaning into a guy that we could trust right now if he has to hit the field. And also communication is a big part of it. There was a game where Gilmore broke down twice in coverage. That's a very big part, especially against this team. And then again, on the side of Romeo Okwara, it kind of gives me the sense that it's a little bit more of a schematic side, but at the same time, he didn't dominate in the preseason. So you could also just look at it like that and be like, well, out of all our edge rushers, outside of Julian, who's on IR, did he not perform the worst? I mean, yeah, you could make that case. You could absolutely make that case. So that's kind of my sense on that. I'm supposed to sleep it, but I'm way too hyped. Yo, chat, I'm literally sweating. I know y'all see me probably sweating some of these videos because it gets hot up here. I'm literally sweating right here because I'm so fired up, but also these lights are like beaming down. Oh my goodness. Detroit has to draft D-line after the season. Man, I mean, we've invested a lot into it. And I think that's the point to what Zach just said. Pascal deserves reps. Like, you're going to get those guys on the field. Now, you could argue the same thing about Isaiah Buggs, though his contract wasn't huge. But the Josh Pascals, he's got to get snaps at some point here. Lions invested in him. I expect him to get a good amount of snaps. And, again, I think he'll be kind of all over the place. But they've invested a lot, I think, in that sense. You could argue that edge rusher may be coming back up again, especially if they want more of a natural edge rusher in terms of build. They didn't go that way this year. But, again, I think that's more for the future. We'll see how it plays out. I won't go into that too much until we see it, but MVS can go deep anytime, so watch out for that. MVS is tough. He is the #1 receiver for me to watch, especially without Travis Kelce. He's really the most productive they have, even though he's not insanely productive because usually it's just Kelce eating, but he is one of their most consistent receivers that we've seen, and especially like you said, he gets over top. Now, the big difference will be this. Chat, I'm just going to jump into it. Look, we're just sitting here. We're just chatting. How we doing, chat? Can I get a 1 out of 10 in the chat? All right, give me a 10. You're extremely confident we're winning tonight. Give me a 1 if there's no shot we are winning tonight. I want to know where everybody stands as we go into this and we start to talk and, do a little pregame notes to this. I know we did the preview show. I dropped that this morning. Chat, I was up till 5 a.m. making that video. I literally got done editing at 5 a.m. I posted that thing, and I actually went to bed. I got done at 5 a.m., and I said, okay, I'm going to set it for 6. 5 a.m. is a little bit too early. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have made a difference. I probably should have just dropped it, but I was so fired up to put that video out there. I was like, yo, I want to drop this thing. Okay, what am I doing? My bad, chat. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I'm doing too much. Fit the screen. Boom. And then we alt that thing. Ooh, hold up. That was kind of fire. Okay. And then we go fit the screen. What? It's bopping again. The music's bopping again. Okay, here we go. Let me turn that back up. Here's this. So, let's give y'all something to look at. Here we go. Let me see the numbers we got. Okay, we got 11.5 in there. That's the first number I see. 10, 10, 11, 10. What? Hungry Panda's got 11? That can't be the real Hungry Panda. 9.5? This is about to be a no-fly zone? Oh my, y'all get me hype. Y'all are giving higher numbers than I would give, and I'm sweating over here, okay? How many people are sweating right now? Don't worry about that. We got a lot of 10s. We got a 9. Zach's put 11.5. I mean, that's insane. We got a 10. Martin is a run-stuffer Chiefs passing team. But now here's the thing about that, which is interesting because it's very true. I think even more so than that, because I don't think they're going to run the ball 58% of the time. But without Travis Kelce, we've seen statistically in the 3 games, they've ran the ball 58% of the time. So that would make them one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL, if not the most run-heavy team without Travis Kelce. I don't think we're going to see that. I do think there will be a slight jump, especially if they have success against us. That would make sense. But again, I think a big part of that is moving laterally. And to be honest with you, probably the worst part about Broderick Martin in the preseason for me was, yeah, there was some hit and miss at double teams, and he's going to have to deal with those today. But really inconsistency in terms of moving laterally with zone plays, getting caught behind zone plays. He can get upfield, but there's inconsistency there. And then they're going to put you in that mess immediately. So again, that's why I think they're leaning into some more of the athletes. The Kaminsky's, the Paschals may get some more work between the tackles because you can really lean into what their ability is movement-wise, but then also just let them get upfield. And they have the size to do it. They're not going to be outmatched sitting in there. Is Chris Jones officially out? Chris Jones officially out. I mean, from what I know, he's out. And the reason I say that is because I saw a clip today that he said, if they paid me today, I'd play tomorrow. Well, you know what? Pay him today. He still ain't playing because today's today. We play today. So I guess he's out. That's what I'm. Yeah. Anyway, chat. There's a lot of high numbers in here. The Assassin's King 7.5. Okay, right. Bubba with the 4. Milton, you need to stop. Milton, it's like, unless you're a Chiefs fan, I think you can't put a 1 in the chat. Chat, let me know. We can't put a 1. Even if you have 0, you can't put a 1. You got to give me like a 4. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like when, I won't go down that road. We'll stay here. We'll stay here. Branch starting in the slot with Sutton and Jacobs on the outside. That's my assumption, Phantom. That's what I'm assuming we're going to see today because what we've seen up to this point. Now, I did see Tracy Walker, and I don't know if that was posted today, so I don't want to, guarantee it. But I did see Tracy Walker kind of say something about him getting healthy. He's been saying a lot of things like that. It's fantastic. And I don't want to overlook Tracy finding his way onto the field, even if it is at times stepping in for Kirby today and really getting all 3 of those guys on the field at some point. Why do healthy scratches exist? It's a good question. It's because of, well, really the only reason is because of how many players can be active. I think you only can have 40, is it 48 now active on the active roster? I think it used to be 46. So that's why you just can't have every player activated. But I don't know why that's a rule. necessarily, and because now they added the quarter. I don't know why that's a rule. I have no idea. But Roland, I see you in the building. What's going on, my guy? I have no idea what I was just reading. I'm sorry. I have no. Let's see how this defense does. Oh my goodness, we're gonna get tested. Romeo traded for Chris Jones, straight up, basically confirmed. Yo, hey, I'm down. Chad, I'm down. But no, okay, wait. I think Ryan Branch does start today. I feel like we've seen it so much, and I haven't seen any reason to not believe that would be the case. I couldn't remember one training camp where that wasn't the case. I don't remember ever seeing that in the preseason, even though they didn't play. I guess they could change it up, but from everything I've seen, there's no reason for me to believe that he wouldn't start at the net. Now, if he's getting cooked, they may be like, all right, CJ, slide down. We're going to put T-Walk in or something. But I think he's going to start there. So that's, yeah, I think they'll kind of lean into that. Dumb should be all 53. Yeah, I don't know the reason behind that, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, now, there is the aspect of you can elevate players out the practice squad, but I don't even know if we got those updates today because I don't know if anybody actually did it. I mean, you're pretty much all healthy, so I guess there's really not much of a reason to do so, but I don't know. Monty gonna go off. O-line is as good as ours. Yeah, I mean, dude, some people would argue it's better. Now, I'm not one of those people because I really have questions about their tackle position. We'll talk about it, but their interior is, I would say their interior at this point is much more proven than our interior. I like Jonah Jackson, but they got some dogs in the inside, and they're gonna move people. And my thing is, without going with Broderick or Bugs, one, it's gonna either put a lot of stress on Benito if they try to kind of lean him inside as more of a nose tackle, and I think it makes sense. Stylistically, he fits, and he can play nose tackle as an explosive nose tackle, more so than Broderick and Isaiah Bugs necessarily. And I think he's even been better against the run than those two. But those dudes can move people, and they're so quick off the ball. I think that's the big thing that stands out there. They're very quick off the ball. They get in your pads so fast that if you're not in your set quickly as like an offensive lineman would be, dude, you're going to get blown off the ball, and they're going to drive you back. They're so quick, and that's what their entire offensive line is basically made up of. But at the tackle position, they got 2 new tackles. They got Smith. They got Taylor. And here's some stats for you. So Mahomes did play in the preseason, and when he played, Taylor gave up 2 pressures. Smith gave up 1 pressure. Very interesting because that is something that historically they're both pretty good pass protectors, not as much so run blockers. So again, they could lean into more of the outside zone, stay inside the B gaps, but that's not, I mean, they'll do it in some games, but I think they're going to still try to get wide because that's kind of who they are. Or maybe they'll just do that with the receivers on the jet sweeps, and then that obviously puts our edge rushers and corners and linebackers, put stress on those guys. But man, debating on starting Laporta in fantasy. I'll say this, I started him over Darren Waller today. I went in for, I was like, yo, this might be crazy. All right, I might be caught up in the moment, but I'm doing it. I started him today. I benched Darren Waller. I also drafted way too many tight ends. I had like 3 tight ends, and we can't use that as a flex position, so I have 3 tight ends, so I had to let one go. You got to make tough decisions. Sometimes you got to call the agent, be like, hey, sorry, it had to be like this, but keep my number because everyone gonna blame Chiefs losing to Lions because Jones and Kelsey, but we are out top receiver and cornerback, and that's a fair point. That's an absolutely fair point. I will say this. I don't want to say that because honestly, if the Lions win tonight and all I hear is like, oh, Lions, it was a whack win, I'm gonna address that. But at the same time, I'm also kind of feel like I won't care because we won. And at the same time, like, I'm just fired up. I just want to see a good game today. This is like a ridiculous. I mean, I'm just watching them, and you just know what this team's about. Like, to me, it doesn't even matter. Like, any other team, I would take so much more stock into this. But there's like a sense in me that when I hear they don't have Travis Kelce, I kind of sit back and I'm like, oh, dang. Okay, now I don't really know what's going to... Like, I feel like he's so good, but at the same time, it's like, well, what exactly is this going to look like without him? Like, it's so hard. It's so hard, dog. And the team has earned that respect because without it, here's a number. In his career, without Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, before, of course, they moved on from Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes was 6-1 in those games. So it's like, dude, you can't help but just respect that they're going to handle it. They're going to handle business. 24-30 KC wins, just be competitive. I'm on board with that. I'm kind of similar in the scoring range. I got 26-23, but clubs can out 53 players on active roster, 48. Okay, so it is 48. I don't know why they do that, but I don't know. Maybe it's because man, I really don't know. I don't have a good argument for you. So you can find that somewhere. Hutch playing injured tonight, ankle hurts. Man, I hope not. I mean, maybe that's possible. I don't know. I may have missed on something there. Waller is the same tier as CeeDee Lamb on DraftKings. Oh, snap. Play Waller. I ain't doing it. So let's go through this, chat. I want to talk through this. I want to get your thoughts, man, and let me know. Let me know what we're thinking, what we're feeling. Tell me I'm crazy, please. We're here. We're live. And if I say some things that you're like, dang, man, and you can come back and be like, bro, you were way off on that, I'm here to take that. All right? I'll take that on the chin, man, because here's some things that I believe about this game. He was never on the injury list. Yes, I did not see him on there, so I don't know. Maybe there was some that popped up today that was like reported on Twitter or X. I don't know. I wanted Jones and Kelsey to play. I don't, like, to be honest, I don't. But here's the thing. I feel more comfortable without Jones because I think Jones is legitimate, leaves real questions defensively that schematically, as good as they've been, and Spagnuolo has gotten a lot of credit because as a defensive coordinator, Chad, they would put out articles or lists of the players that they had added to the defense with Steve Spagnuolo. And if you went through the list, you'd be like, ooh, none of those guys popped. Like, literally none of the guys they've invested in popped defensively. Or there would be a couple, like there would be a couple players that had hit, but for the most part, like, a lot of them weren't like big time impact players. But now it feels like, specifically at edge rusher, linebacker, they're strong. At edge rusher, it feels like they're really leaning into, hey, those young guys got to step up. Like, there's no more Carlos Dunlap. There's no more Clark. Those young guys got to step up. We're going to put him to the challenge, the feet to the fire. Let's go. So, Rad going to make it appear? I don't think so. Rad actually left for work or this morning or yesterday. He flew out, but he is going to be watching the game. So, if he calls in, we can answer it. We'll see. I got his number, so we'll see if something pops up there. But I think he landed like earlier today, so I don't want to like bother him too much because he's probably settled in trying to watch the game. Or he might be still working because he's got a time difference where he's at. I don't remember what I was going to say. Feeling so good, Steve. Kool-Aid flowing. Okay, I love it. Campbell and Branch really to step up. Oh my gosh. Yes. A lot of Honolulu Blue in the stands. Yo, I see people on Snapchat that are there. Are you going for the Lions to win? Oh, absolutely, JMV. JMV, I got us winning. I think we do win this game. 26-23 is my score prediction. Let me know what we think. Hudge, Kaminsky, Houston get a sack. That would be nasty. Against this O-line, that would be big time, especially with how fast Mahomes gets the football out of his hands. It's kind of like Tampa Bay, who doesn't have a great O-line, but as soon as you take Brady out of the equation, now it looks a lot worse. With Patrick Mahomes, what you do is as soon as you take Travis Kelce out of the occasion for them, his time to throw drops big time. So that's a huge impact. Now, I'll say this about Chris Jones. Here's why I'm like, I feel more like clarified because look, Andy Reid is ridiculous as an offense coordinator. He reminds me of Ben Johnson because Ben's so good and the way that the little movement stuff that he does create. Andy Reid does all those things. He's just got answers. Everybody's trying to catch up, it seems like, all the time. So that's why it's still kind of tricky on offense because they still have dynamic playmakers that you just get the ball in their hands, they're going to make something happen. They have a lot of speed and a great offensive line. Like, you tie those three things, that's tough. They're running out right now. I'm fired up. But the thing is with Chris Jones is that, let me also hit you with this stat because it wasn't in my preview. When Chris Jones is not on the field, pressure rates drop for pretty much everybody. Carlos Dunlap drop. George Karlaftis, they drop. Nick Bolton, they drop. They drop across the board for all other individual players essentially as soon as he's not on the field. So it's not just him being dominant, it's everybody else being dominant because of him. And I do think there's real questions in the interior without him. So it's going to stress those linebackers who are fast-flowing. They're tough. They're really quick to the football. Which rookie makes the best play tonight? I got to go Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm sorry if that's a lame answer, but I think you'll have the most cracks at it. I think Sam Laporta could go nuts today, but I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs because he's going to get the most, I think, natural cracks at it, whether that's carries, whether that's flat routes, where Chiefs usually play two deep safeties. Now, here's the thing I want to hit on this as we kind of roll through. Let me jump to this point. And actually, I'm going to pull up my notes here because there was a point that I wanted to make before we get into this about how I kind of expect things to maybe look without having. Okay, so here's the thing. Like I talked about in the preview video, they do play more man than most teams in the league. So we know that about this team. And the Lions are going to obviously have to find ways to beat that. But they do like to play two wide safeties. So the question to me is, if they do that, of course, naturally, the attacking spot of the defense is middle field. The problem is that across the board, they have very good coverage linebackers, and they can play in man coverage, whether that's Nick Bolton, whether that's Willie Gay, whether that's even Leo Chenal has had success in coverage. Like, they're very good there. They had a Drew Tranquil, who is a very efficient, instinctual run defender. So they're really good in terms of just straight up coverage. And I think their cornerbacks are really all solid. There's not a weak link to go pick on, especially week one. So naturally, if they're going to play that too high look and try to keep everything, in front of them like we've seen, whether that's zone coverage or man, the middle of the field is where you would point to attack. But they communicate so well. So I pointed out attacking Willie Gay. But to me, that's the reason that you could see Jahmyr Gibbs or Sam Laporta not only one, get a lot of attempts, but number two, be crazy, like have the big games today. Those are the guys. Of course, you always have to keep in mind St. Brown because he's right across the middle of the field, and Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond's the guy I really circle as kind of a dark horse because I haven't seen anybody say anything about Khalif Raymond, and I think Khalif Raymond has the skill set where today you could really attack him in certain coverage looks that you get. I think his skill set allows him to open some things up for you. He obviously has so much speed, quickness, playmaking with ball in his hands. Like, he's the guy I'm super interested to see. But that's going to dictate a lot because if they're not going to play two deep safeties, let's say they look at the Lions and they say, look, man, we know they like to run the ball. They're going to come at us. So Lions start to run the ball. Maybe they're effective early, maybe they're not, but they're putting an extra body. They're rolling. They like to roll a lot post-snap, but maybe they're rolling a little bit earlier. Maybe their safeties are more shallow because they're playing cover 4, whatever it may be. All of a sudden, you start to get to that look. Now the question is, can the Lions get over top? Can the Lions get over top, specifically get an isolated matchup on the outside where they're not diving on everything, but instead it's a pure one-on-one matchup on the outside? Not where it's like, hey, I'm going to give you that curl route, and I'm going to jump on it. It's more so like I'm going to get up on you or whatever it is, I'm going to isolate you with Marvin Jones Jr. Can somebody win on the outside? So, Chad, I want to throw it to you. If I asked you, which receiver do you trust? Receiver, not running back, not tight end. Which receiver do you trust most tonight? If he was in a one-on-one situation on the outside, he was lined out wide to win that one-on-one matchup. Who do we trust the most? I want to know where y'all are at with this because as they're big, they're physical on the outside, which a good offset to that could be Khalif Raymond. But on the flip side, I just have a little bit of a feeling. I have a little bit of a feeling after watching the Chargers play him. Marvin Jones Jr., if you trust him, Marvin Jones Jr., He could have some big-time grab. I don't think he'll go crazy, but I could see him having 3 receptions, 2 key first downs, maybe a touchdown grab. We're like, okay, Marvin, that was big time. That's old school. And hit us with one of these, I could see that. A lot of St. Brown. Okay. Hey, and so y'all are kind of like almost, I guess, my question wasn't great then. So you're almost saying like, because I say wide, that means he's not inside of anybody. So you're almost saying maybe that's a stack look. That you're taking St. Brown, you're just trusting him to win that one-on-one matchup. And if that is the case, that's where I think you have to lean into St. Brown, whether he's in the slot or the outside, and try to find a way to potentially combine that with the usage of Khalif Raymond or Jahmyr Gibbs or Sam Laporta. Because if you can isolate a matchup without him getting direct help because you have a tight end to deal with, or you have a running back, or you have Khalif Raymond's speed that's going to just pull the linebacker back, because he's running up the seam, all of a sudden you might be able to isolate a one-on-one against an Isaiah McDuffie. And then it's just a question of, against a good cornerback, is St. Brown going to win more often than not? But I think that's a really legitimate answer because we just know that Goff trusts that dude. You know what I mean? Route running, he is a nightmare. He is an absolute, So, all right. Hey, I like it. That's why I had to ask. We're all right. A couple other things, keys to watch for me. Detroit Lions are looking to start out very early and look awesome. I see you, Mick Ultra. Okay, it actually means okay, right? Or maybe like cool. Or that means like the thing where they like hit you. Anyway, linebacker. Here's why I'm saying linebacker. It's kind of to the point that I just made, but here's the big thing here. If we're going to play 2 deep safeties, which I could see us doing absolutely because they don't have Travis Kelce. With Travis Kelce, it always becomes tough to do that, especially, playing them deep, getting depth outside of where you can roll them down and play your safeties down. Playing 2 deep safeties is a real possibility here because they don't want to let the guys that can be the game breakers, MVS, whether that's Sky Moore, whether that's, Watson on the outside, even Justin Ross, who had, some good moments. Rashee Rice, who's not a burner, but the guy had Rashee Rice had a first half this season, chat, in a preseason game, where he went for, I'm going to try to get the exact number here. I believe it was, what was it? Was it 7 receptions for 82 yards? Was it 8 receptions? It was somewhere in that category. He went crazy. So if they're going to do that, if they're gonna have their safeties deep, it's gonna put a lot more stress to me on the linebackers then, because you're gonna have the linebackers dealing with a lot of the speed that they have underneath, the crossers, the cornerbacks, all of those things underneath. If they're gonna start pulling a safety down, like we've seen a lot of teams do because Travis Kelce is out there for Noah Gray because he's their top tight end as the backup, now it's gonna put stress on those guys. Handle business. Handle business on the outside. You might have to deal with a little bit of one-on-one action. You know what I mean? You might have to hold it down against Jalen. You might have to hold it down against MVS by yourself. And sometimes you may just say, hey, maybe we think our guys are just better than your guys, and we're gonna find out. St. Brown, Marv, Khalif, Reynolds, Laporta, Gibbs, Monty. Oh, those are your players to watch? I got you. I'm so scared I'm gonna get disappointed again. Aaron, don't get disappointed. Don't. I guess disappointed in the sense of if they like lay an egg, kind of thing. I get that. I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. I'm naturally gonna be disappointed if we lose, but I don't think I'll like be that upset because I know who we're playing here. But I really just want to see like what it looks like. The biggest thing I'm looking for personally, outside of a win, is what does the coverage look like? Like how smooth are we in coverage? Like first off, one-on-one, because in training camp there would be like one-on-one reps you would see, or I really saw it against our own team. But against someone else, it was always so hard to get a good vision of like, okay, how are they actually doing over there? So I want to see that. I want to see like what do our corners look like? Are they like handling business on the outside? And on the flip side, I also want to see that communication because I know that this team, if we're playing a lot of man, is going to go at that. They're going to go at that a ton, especially without, having Travis Kelce. Missing Travis Kelce. Defense will decide if we win or lose tonight. Man, and I can't argue with that. So I went linebacker there because of that, depending on how they play defensively. So that's why I went linebacker DB. Now on the Chiefs side, here's the things that I'm looking for the Chiefs. Obviously, Noah Gray. Now, I have Noah Gray's stats from last season. Noah Gray is a little bit of an undersized tight end. He's only 240 pounds, so he's another run-after-catch guy. But Noah Gray last year, 28 receptions on 34 targets, 300 yards, and a touchdown. I can't even watch the game because I'm stuck at work. Plymouth, can you listen? Because we'll be here. I'm going to do my best to try to tell you what's happening. So I'll do my best if you want to stick around. I just bet 50 on the Chiefs. Wait, did you bet with BetUS? I need to know, Zach, if you bet, and I need you to do it with BetUS, okay? I need you to use that link and do it through BetUS. $50 on the Chiefs with a 14-point spread. Oh, I gotcha. You hope the Lions win by 7. Wait, so your take... okay, hold up. All right, tackles. We talked about tackles. I think those guys are a little bit like, I don't know what we're going to get because they're 2 new tackles to the mix. And I'm telling you, if Hutchinson is dominating, can I post a game link? You can try. You could try. I don't know if it'll actually show up though. Like sometimes they just don't, and I can't even see them, so I can't like make them public. But you can try. But like I said, I think the tackles are a little bit. It's kind of we're gonna find out. And I'm telling you, if Hutchinson is dominating those dudes or James Houston, it's gonna shake things up immediately. And then finally the edge rusher position, because like I said, I think it's more potential than what they've done. It's Karlaftis, Mike Dana's a little bit more proven, but there's a lot of potential there. Same thing with the linebacker position. Bolton, Gray, Chanel, Tranquil, those are really good linebackers across the board. They're going to fly around. If they're going to keep things in front of them, they're going to be the keys of the game. Can we find a guy that we can isolate, right? I know we've dominated zone coverage historically, but if they're going to man coverage us and they're going to change it up and say, hey, look, teams sit, and here's my thing. If they say, look, we're going to play more man coverage again because we know Lions have struggled with that at times. Okay. Can the Lions find that matchup piece? That's what I've been asking. And if you're looking at Laporta and you're looking at Gibbs, they're the guys that can most naturally get that matchup out. That's not a slot because the slot's going to deal with the slot. But those guys are going to get those linebackers. Usually you would say that's the matchup you want, but they're so good at what they do that that's not like a big time, benefit on paper. So we'll find out. This is going to be, you're watching on YouTube TV. Chad, how's YouTube TV? I've heard a lot of people are switching to that. I've heard it's a little bit behind because it's like a live stream thing, but a lot of people are doing that. It's fire. Peacock is running fine. Oh, you got Peacock? Okay. Oh, Peacock's lagging. I got you. Dang. It should be NBC nationally, I'm pretty sure, though. No Prime. It's NBC tonight. Yeah, so I think it's on both Peacock and NBC. Hutch doesn't have a against... Nah, wait, hold up. Against rookies. Oh, you just mean like first time kind of thing? Because I know Juwan Taylor ain't that. What's up, Blake? Oh, Twitter's behind. Yeah, I get that. if it's a little bit behind. We're probably a little bit behind over here, but you know, you always can like delay it. I bet with you. Okay, I got you. Oh, I got you, Zach. So you just did that thing in person. All right, you can't use bet. You know, it's all right. Yeah. Oh, you did DraftKings. Man. So yeah, these are mine. I don't have Oh, I don't even have the Beats riding either. So I think the game kicks off at 8:15. Chad. Here's what we're gonna do. Oh, I cannot get back to the home screen. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we're gonna go switch over to a different stream. Now you guys may have seen the thumbnail. It's disgusting. Chad, if you guys haven't seen the new thumbnail for the live, it's nasty, dude. That's the coolest thumbnail we've ever had on this channel. So shout out to them for putting that together. But that's where the live stream is gonna be. Score predictions, yes, we need to do that. And then also let me know for fantasy purposes, because I know we jumped into that this year. Let me know who's the fantasy player to watch tonight. Lions, Chiefs. Like I said, I started Sam Laporta tonight. I started him over Darren Waller. I just clicked the Hulu too. I didn't mean to do that. I started him over Darren Waller. I don't, you know, Waller's gonna produce, so I already know that. But my thing is I just think there's a chance. If I had Gibbs, I would have started him instead. But I think there's a real chance that he could go crazy. Yes, Phantom. Game starts 8:20. Okay. Let me see at my house. What? No, I think he's lying. I'm gonna double check. It's not.
It's a weird
I know, but you nah. Oh.
I said 8:15.
Okay, it's 8:20. It's 8:20. All right. But 8:15 is when it's really gonna start. It's really started already.
I'm pretty excited. Look, I got all your swag on.
Oh, that's my favorite. I love that shirt. Am I crazy for starting the Lions defense? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know though, cause I'm not great at fantasy, so I don't. Yeah, like if you're asking me like, cause I guess I've always heard like don't even draft defense. I was watching like them do a full draft thing, and they're like don't draft defense. I'm like, well, dang, I drafted like the first defense off the board, or the second one. I took the Patriots defense, which I feel good about. I feel like it's gonna be a good defense, but I'll say this: I don't think it's gonna be as high scoring. Okay, I had them with 23, and I think without Travis, that's gonna impact it. But at the same time, they're not gonna like, they can turn the ball over, and to me, the way they'll turn the ball over, it'll come down to Cam Sutton, it'll come down to Jerry being very smooth in coverage. All right, if they're communicating really well and it's on point for week 1, we might get an interception like that because he will throw in the traffic, especially if Aaron Glenn starts to crank up the heat in terms of, because Patrick Mahomes will feel it. Patrick Mahomes knows when he's feeling that heat a little bit. You'll see him kind of get not necessarily jittery, but he'll start to move a little bit. And you can sense that he's kind of feels like something's happening. So he'll start to you can kind of get to him a little bit like that. But I want to see if we just come out and run the ball at him because I haven't seen the team do that. But at the same time, they don't have a weak run defense, but it's definitely not their strength. It's below average. Isn't there a ring ceremony, though? I think so. I don't know when that takes place. Did they do a ring ceremony, though? I mean, there's like, what, 50 players? Like, do you pull out all 50 players? They drop a banner, right? I don't know if they give out rings today. I know the NBA does, but I would wonder about that because you know there's a lot of dudes that they can give rings. I mean that line, yeah, like that's the thing too. They're on other teams, so I don't know. Maybe there's like 30 dudes. I don't know. 10 or better, but I lost mine. Starting rookies from your favorite team. Hey, look, I'll take that. Look, here's the thing. This is I didn't come up with good expectations that I was actually going to be successful in fantasy this year. My record that it told me I was going to be was 6-8, which is good. Last time I did the draft, it said I was going to be 0-14. So, and I think I did end up going 0-14, which is tough. I was like, oh, they're hating. No, I was actually terrible. I'm predicted to lose this game by 20 points. Maybe Laporta changes that, though. I mean, they don't know, though. They think Laporta's like, you know, bottom barrel because he's a rookie. So if he's crazy, they won't be prepared for that. And then all of a sudden, the score gets thrown off. They already got their rings. Just banner. Okay, just banner. All right, yeah. That shouldn't take too long. I think they'll start basically on time. I feel like the NFL does a pretty good job of getting there on time. They'll get to the booth at 8:20, and then they'll... Man. And that's the thing, BBFC. Like, Kadarius Toney wasn't ultra productive even last year. 14 receptions, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. MVS is, I think, their most reliable receiver, but I don't think he's consistently productive in every level of the field. Kadarius Toney can open that up a little bit. But the thing with Toney is going to be so interesting to match what that looks with Sky Moore. And especially if we're playing a lot of man. those two guys have been super impactful because of what they've done in terms of just running crossing routes. So it'll be more so to me on communication. I'm looking forward to Justin Ross. I don't want to see him do well, like against us. I do for the rest of the season because, you know, I liked him coming out a lot, and he had like some terrible things he was dealing with, and it kind of like shut down his career. But he's on this team, and he wasn't electric, but he had a couple receptions in the preseason as well. And then they have Watson too, and I don't overlook Watson. Don't overlook Watson having a big play today because he's another big body. Like I said, they got players that fit in the roles. Justin Watson is 6'2", 215, MVS 6'4", 206, and they're big, they're fast. Rashee Rice, not as fast, but he's the big body. And man, he's great catch radius, right? This guy's crazy if you ever watch him. But he's another big body receiver. So they have like all different types of receivers. So I think we'll kind of see them lean into that. And I think the thing with Tony and Sky Moore may not even be just what they do receiving wise, but more so what they do, with all the jet sweeps and things that they do behind the line of scrimmage. They do a lot of those. Also, look forward to a lot of screens early from us. If the Chiefs play us like everybody seemingly, they played last year, screens were hit early and often to receivers. And again, I think the best player to hit that with would be Khalif Raymond because one, they'll probably give him a little more cushion, and two, he's pretty nuts with the ball in his hands. Chad, I want to give a couple more questions before we wrap this thing up. Do we see Antoine Green today? Let me know. Give me a 1 if Antoine Green plays at all today. Give me a 2 if he makes a reception, 3 if he doesn't play. If I get a 2, I never remember who you are. They're rookies in week 1. Roshan Johnson, Sean Tucker. Gibbs for Lions will not play much. Ooh. Are you saying for fantasy or for actually today? I don't know. I think we're gonna see a healthy amount of Gibbs, man. I think the big thing for me with Gibbs and honestly Laporta is how little they played. Because if you think back to last year, right now you could, obviously none of the starters played, but if you think back to last year when we did play the starters for a little bit, right? Swift would get out there and then he came out. Hockenson came out. They played them almost as if they were starters. Like they barely played and then they came out of the game. So I think they're going to be super involved. I think you kind of have to. Like running backs, it's not like most positions. If you draft a running back in the top 15, that dude's got to hit the field. That dude's got to be on the field, and he's so different from Montgomery. It's not like I can replace Montgomery for what he brings. I can't run the same things and be like, well, he kind of gets it. Like you're getting a whole different style.
Lions fans, they show up corner.
So I'm a little bit more worried that we don't see as much. But even that, like I don't know how many targets Laporta gets, but I think he starts today. If we're coming out, we're trying to run heavy, they'll lean, I think, Brock Wright. But if they're going out, dude, if they're going out and trying to throw the football, he'll be the starter. He said he won't play. Why? Is there an injury? I might have missed that if there was. I didn't see anything like that, but I don't know. I'd be shocked. If that was the case. Now, you could look at a perspective of receiving. There hasn't been a lot of production from backs receiving against this team, so I could understand that if they feel like with the speed that they have at linebacker, the matchup is. Because here's the thing: I don't think Gibbs. I think Gibbs is the worst trait grade I gave him was vision. All right, I thought it was average. And the big thing with me is I don't think he's as consistently impactful between the tackles. So if you're going to lean to that and you're just going to play that way and you're asking him to foul blocks between the tackles, I wouldn't be giving him a ball. I would maybe give him 1 or 2. But if you're going to try to get outside, especially if you're trying to throw the ball, you can't replace that with David Montgomery. Mitchell's going to play a bigger role. I'm down with that. All right, chat. Here's what we're going to do. Go click that new Megatwan are playing. Don't wait, Megatwan. I don't know, man. I mean, he's number 5, so they're not on the inactive list, but that don't mean they're playing. Like Anthony Pittman, is he playing? He ain't on the inactive. Like he might play special teams, We'll see on that one. I don't know. I didn't hear any of the Hutch thing with the ankle, but he wasn't on the injury report either. So we got a 2 in there. Okay, I don't remember what the question was I asked with the 2. So was he gonna catch a ball, or he's gonna play? Or catch? Yeah. All right, chat. Here's what we're gonna do. Man, that's what I would do, BBFC. That's what I would do. It's their weakest spot of the team in terms of what they have proven. Their interior defensive tackles are below average. That's their worst part of the defense on paper is that. So, but I expect them to load up against. Like I don't see the Chiefs just sitting back and letting us. They have a very good defensive coordinator. He's been credited for so much of what he does schematically over players. He's not going to sit back and let them just get drove back. Because if you're getting drove back running the football 5 yards of carry, your game's over. You're not beating anybody if you can't If you can't hold a team to 2 yards on a first down, they're getting 5, it's over. You don't got a shot in that game, especially for us because we're just going to hit play action and occasionally and it's over. So I would expect he's going to kind of sell out some of those linebackers and start pulling them up because I've seen him do it. I've seen him like put linebackers, stack them behind defensive tackles and just squeeze the box with multiple players and just get everybody packed in there and just be like, nah, that ain't happening. So, we'll see. But anyways, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to go live. We're going to switch over to that channel. It's a cool thumbnail. It looks different than all my other thumbnails because I didn't make it. So that's why it looks so good. And with that, we'll see you guys over there. We'll be live in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes when the game kicks off. And, yeah, man, join in. Don't not join in. Don't leave and be like, all right, I'm going to watch the game. Like, nah. If you just have it on the background, you know what I mean? Anyway, we out. Enjoy the game. And I'll see y'all soon. Shout out to Juma. He put that in the chat. So if you're just joining, shout out to Juma. Definitely check that out. W thumbnail. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. I should have said I made that. It looks so fun. I wouldn't even know where to start. I would have no idea how to make that. All right, we out.